is childish. Talk shit, get some holes in your outfit. I feel I'm inclined like Calvin to raise up the volume. You popping pills, that's that volume. I'm like Uncle Phil. You get thrown out, talking all that jazz. I'm like Taz, the way I spin the block. Hit you with a cinder block. Amnesia defeat you, won't remember a lot. Put your brain on stove tops, let it simmer in pots. And vacant lots, smoking pop. Sir, mix a lot, while I mix a lot. Like a Muslim, peace to my brothers upstate. Tell them that I love them, love them, love them.
Like I always had a passion for rap music. Rapping, I was always trying to create the situation to where I could do this full time. Express that hopelessness, like man, y'all don't understand. You know what I mean? You dig from a different place, that bottom of your soul, that pit.
Boost, then stop. Just wanna give you the truth, make your head bop. The booth where I give my TED Talks, put your bread out. Scared money, don't make no money, put your head out. Sacrifices, maybe your fringe of vices, driving you insane, no license. Do the best thinking, drinking in rooms with low light. And I'm like M. Bison, I don't be moving my pen, writing punchlines, I've been Tyson. Now my shit enlightened, speaking that gospel. So hopefully you won't get indicted. Everything I say, I write it. Bandanas and scarves on boats like we some fucking pirates. Sell greed to a pig, they gon' fucking buy it. Industry is just a fucking virus full of liars. Think you tight, where's the pliers? Team only deal with buyers. Cream like we deal with briars. Only deal with niggas like us. The science is mathematics, so we multiplying.
Rap school.
Welcome to I Am Perspective Radio Show, episode number 5, The Haitian Perspective. I am your co-host, Jorel H. Whitfield.
And I am Nasi Alam, and we are so happy to be here today.
I love your happy voice.
My happy voice.
And we are so happy to be here today. That's genuine happiness.
That is genuine happiness for me. So we are excited for this week. We have this is the beginning of Black History Month, and we've decided to start this month with a conversation around the Haitian perspective. And for those of you who are tuning in, we're also having the Haitian Perspective event on Thursday. We'll give those details a little bit later. But first, before we introduce our guests, I just want to say why we chose to pick the Haitian perspective. Neither Jorel and I are Haitian, by the way. But in terms of Black History Month, Haiti is the first country in the black country in the Western Hemisphere to get their independence. And so really what that has created, what that looks like in this community in America. And so we just really want to get to just have a few questions that we want to get to.
Yeah, we talked about, Nussie and I, for those new to the show, and what we do at Iron Perspective is we've been having dialogues around New York City and around the country, now on the radio around the world. People are listening to us around the world, facts. And we started these conversations to see what are our likenesses, where are we alike, where are we not. And when it comes to African American history, Black History Month now as they're calling it, I learned it a specific way. I'm a Black American male, and I grew up in Queens, as Nussie did. We're Queens natives. We grew up with all these different cultures around us, and my friends were just Black, you know? My friends were Black, and then I went into their households and was like, oh, yeah, your mom sound different. Oh, it smelled different in here. What's that? You know, oh, y'all cook y'all chicken different, you know? And so there's a lot of Caribbeans that I grew up with, and they really didn't have my perspective at all, you know? And we were so much alike. And Nussie and I, we started the Caribbean Perspective in 2019 and recognized that this needs to happen with all the countries. You know, I don't know if we can go through all the countries in the world. Inevitably, we'd love to. But specifically in the Caribbean community and with the Haitians, I have a lot of Haitian friends. I got a lot of Haitian family, as I call them, that I grew up with. Nussie does as well.
Yes.
And you know, it's all of our history. So we wanted to see how that looked for you. How we're going from perspectives, so this will be, you know, your own individual perspectives, and we're excited to have you guys. Definitely.
And so for those of you who are currently following along on Facebook, if you could please jump on to the YouTube link that I'm about to post and view us there. It is live coming at you right now.
Yeah, we'll see y'all in a second. Check us out live, YouTube. All right, so let's move right into our esteemed guests. Well, welcome, come on in. Y'all can go ahead and introduce yourselves, if you don't mind. You can start.
Start with y'all. What's up?
Tell the people, age, sex, what was it?
Yes.
ASL, age, sex, location. Now, give the people a little bit about yourself and your name.
My name is Mitchell Sennett from Brooklyn, New York. I own Drip Beverage Lounge in Flatbush, Brooklyn. Pretty much, I'm born and raised in Brooklyn. Went to school in Brooklyn, and came back after college, well, a few years after college, to open up a business, open up a couple businesses, and yeah, that's pretty much it for now.
Excellent. And real quick, are your parents Haitian or?
Yeah, both my parents are Haitian.
Okay.
Yeah, all the way. I'm first generation. They both came here when they were like 13 or 14 about, and and I'm me and my sister first generation over here.
Okay, great. We're gonna go a little bit deeper into that in a second, but just wanted to get that over.
Jude Grandchamps. The real pronunciation for that is Jude Grandchamp.
Yeah, word.
But yeah, I mean, I've Americanized it, so it's Jude Grandchamps. Everyone knows me like that and whatnot. Restaurant manager for Grandchamp or Grandchamps. We have 2 locations. Yeah, we got one in Bed-Stuy, and then we have one that we just opened up in the Brooklyn Navy Yard.
Excellent.
So, and we're serving up some Haitian food up there, serving up love through Haitian food and Haitian culture.
Yeah.
And sharing that with everybody. So
Definitely been
that's
there.
our thing.
The food is great over there, definitely.
Yeah.
Drive by my sister's crib, that's why.
Thanks.
That's excellent.
Made in Queens.
Yes.
Yes.
Made in Queens.
Queens.
That's what we love to hear.
Yeah. So grew up a lot. Have a lot of Caribbean people in Queens that I grew up with and whatnot. A lot of Southerners as well. My block was pretty diverse.
Okay, what part of Queens did you grow up in?
Rosedale.
Yeah, Rosedale, Rochdale, Rosedale.
Do some history on Rosedale.
Yeah, I'm from Springfield, so I know, man.
Yeah,
We neighbors.
Yeah.
That's love.
Yeah.
Come on, squeeze on in here. You on the flyer, girl? You got. That's what I was pointing at. That there was a. So we also have our third special guest,
Yes.
who is squeezing in just now.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi.
Let the people know who you are. We are live, and tell
Oh,
them a little bit
does
about
it have to
yourself.
be closer or?
We can hear you.
Okay. What am I saying?
Introduce. Okay, so she just got in. So
Yeah.
Jael Lewis, right?
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
Jael Louis. I'm from Brooklyn. I might be outnumbered.
Mm.
I'm a first generation, so both of my parents are Haitian immigrants who came in the early 90s, and I was born months later. So, yeah.
So everybody here was born in America.
Yeah.
All right, excellent.
First generation here.
Great.
Okay.
Great.
So everyone was born in America, but there is a specific. You guys were born in different generations, right? And so, even in choosing, who we're gonna have here today, because we both know a lot of Haitians, right? We did want to get a variety of perspectives around what that looks like, whether you were born and raised here, which borough you grew up in, because we think there's a difference based on which borough you were raised in, and we're gonna really get into that as well. The first question, we're just gonna jump right in, right? How do you identify? Do you identify as Haitian, American, Black, or a mixture of things? What does that look like if someone was to ask you how you identify? And anyone can start.
I tell people I'm Haitian. That ass. It's like, alright, I was born here. I tell everybody I'm born in Brooklyn and whatnot. But I'm Haitian. Like the way I was brought up. I went to like private schools my whole life. But when I came back home, I lived Haitian. The way my mom, disciplined me was straight up Haitian.
Right.
I'm Haitian, straight up.
So?
I live in America, but I'm definitely Haitian.
Okay.
Without even going deeper, does that resonate with just hearing what him saying? Like, I grew up Haitian.
Or do you might have a different
Yeah.
perspective, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say. So now I identify as a black woman. I just say I'm a black woman. If someone wants more details, then I go into the details. But I think it's pretty obvious, or at least to me, that I'm a black woman. But in terms of, I usually just say I'm Haitian American. Like, I just include both.
Mm-hmm.
I think growing up, there was like a emphasis on identifying as American. Just because my parents are immigrants, they just got here. They trying to fit into like
Differentiating
dominant
yourself,
culture.
like I was
it's
on
like a
that.
survival strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, the other kids could tell that. Well, you're not really that American, right? 'Cause I had an accent and everything. And then when I went to Haiti,
They're like,
it's,
you're not
it's
really
like, no,
Haitian.
you're American.
Yeah.
You're blanc. Right, which means white, because they could tell that I was born overseas and the way I view life was different. So now I just grown to know about both sides and just embrace both, right? But I mean, I'm Haitian, right? And I think my mom made it more obvious, like when I started dating, like when she would talk to the guys I was talking to, she was like, hey, my daughter's Haitian, so whatever you're used to doesn't apply in this household, right? So I totally, like, I could see what you mean, because, like, when I go back home, like, it's like, yeah, we're on American soil, but this household is very Haitian.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Jude?
Yeah, it's about the same. Haitian American. Lately, I've been doing the same where it's just been black. But if you want to delve into my background and stuff like that, then I'm Haitian. Right at the end of the day, where'd the name come from? My parents are from Haiti and whatnot, and so so I grew up here, was born here. But same thing. Once I got home, the experience is not American.
You cross some doors and you are right back.
Yeah. Once you're back home, not at this rate in here. Once you cross the threshold.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I was saying. That was my experience going to my friend's house. It's like up until you get to the door. It's like you go into the door. You're like, oh, I'm in Trinidad now.
Yeah.
I'm in Haiti.
Yeah.
This is a whole different experience here. That's cool. Now as we preempted me trying to use fancy words on the radio. As we started the conversation about Black History Month, I'm curious. Since you were all born here, how did you experience Black History Month? Did it feel like your history? Did it feel like history you were learning? Did it feel inclusive? Did it feel like somebody else's? Because I see now the three of you now just like, I'm black. But like, how did you experience Black History Month?
I mean, honestly, it's only recently that I feel like growing up, Black History Month just felt foreign to me. Cause I'm a first gen, so it's like these ancestors I'm learning about. Yes, they're my ancestors too, cause they're black, but it's like not a direct link to Haiti. And what I learned about Haiti is never enough. It's like very short and negative, right? We don't get to hear about those who really paved the way, especially for Haitian Americans today. So it just felt a little foreign, but now I just learned to embrace it. Like, no, this is important for me to know too, because I am black, right? So now it doesn't feel as foreign to me, but it did. It didn't resonate with me so much like it would have if I was learning about Haitian history, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can relate to that.
That's the other thing too. We just threw y'all in there for the listeners, for you guys here. Iron Perspective is about perspective. It's about where you're coming from, your view. There are no right or wrongs. There might be some foul shit, but there's no right or wrongs. And the point of perspective is gaining exactly where you were at, where you're from. And you don't have to speak for. You've been to our events. You know how we do. You don't have to speak for all of the Haitians, all the people on your block. But we get so much. Our listeners get so much when someone can hear your individual. Like, oh wow, that was.
And so that's really for everyone, right? Every perspective that we share is individual, right? So you're not speaking for all Haitian Americans when you're sharing your opinions or perspective, right? And so for anyone out there that's listening,
Yeah,
and
we
like
skip over
something,
that. That's a very major thing because we. Oh, snap.
Okay.
We also see that a lot of times we end up holding back what we want to say because we feel like we're representing everybody. I know I'll speak for myself. Like there's times where I know I represent all black people, and I'm like, damn, I can't say this, or I can't. I really don't want to, So that's a major part of the space that we try to create here.
Yeah.
How long like we've been celebrating Black History? Because Black History Month has been kind of a recent.
Is it?
Black History
Has
Month.
it? For my
I mean,
generation,
I've done
I
it
think so.
always, I guess, for school. So maybe
If
you
we-
know
if we-
something
if we-
different.
If we look back, because like there was a time where it was just when we were in school, all we were learning was about really white history, right? And so like, I mean, growing up, because I went to Catholic school
Yeah.
growing up, and so like the social studies books never really covered anything about black people.
Right.
In that. So just to have a black history, and just to be able to just talk about black history was just kind of a foot in on just being acknowledged somehow that we've contributed somehow to this country, right? Because like growing up, you would, for me anyway, you would think that we didn't do anything in this country, right? And like any time that there was anything done, it was always linked around Martin Luther King.
Right. That was the one
So
name.
like, and that was, and I was, I don't know. So like, I was born in the 70s. So
For those of you that don't know, Drew looks really great, but
He
he's
kinda has
49
to say
years
that
old.
for context. Because they're listening like, what does this young boy know? anything?
What is this
so,
pre-Black
like,
History
it
Month?
looks- So
I had no idea.
so like the legacy of like Dr. King was one of the things that like was always thrown around and whatnot, and so like he was like the mainstay, right? And then any other black person of influence really didn't get that much shine at that point. Malcolm X was vilified, for a while and whatnot. Thanks to American history, right? Because if you go based on history books, that's what we were learning, right? It wasn't like the Black Panther Party was like this party that
You
we're
got a
supposed to be
small
studying, right?
representation.
They were actually like a threat, like a terror, like it was a faux pas to talk about them, when you were younger and whatnot. They were like the criminals, right?
Right.
So I knew them as criminals, like coming up and whatnot. Which, like looking back at it now, is like, wow, that's kind of understanding what they were really about and what they were doing and whatnot. That narrative is false, but that's how I was taught, coming up. So, I mean, I'm glad now that we've embraced Black history, and now there's an opportunity to be able to show how diverse, because like Black people really are, right?
Yeah.
Like we're just a diverse group, and sometimes we feel like we're different, but in many senses we're the same. So I grew up with a lot of folks on my block. I had two families that are like really close, and they were from the South. And if you listen to them talk, it's almost the same thing. Like they used to go down south every summer.
Yeah.
They go down south every summer. And I remember one time going to my mom going, how come we don't go down south? Like what's the deal here? They're always going down south. How come we don't go down south? And she was like, because we don't have nobody from the south.
Because we go to Haiti.
But she was like, if you want to go home, I'm gonna take you to Haiti, because and in a sense,
That's how down south.
that's right. That's our down south, right? Like our down south is going back to Haiti,
Yeah.
and I didn't like now. Looking back at it now, I was like, oh, now it makes sense and
Yeah.
whatnot. But like my southern friends would go back home and they would go and chill with their family and stuff like that. And in a sense, we do the same thing. So it wasn't really that much difference. So yeah, Black History Month is an opportunity, definitely to me anyway.
Right.
So just for the record, because I didn't want to say it and not be correct, Black History Month started in 1976.
76.
Black History Week was initiated in 1926 by Carter G. Woodson. There are now reports that it was also a Afro-Latino who was a part of the origins of this actual recognition of African and Black people in the country, because without that, and it seems like, oh, didn't we just start that? It's like 100 years, but damn, these 100 years feel like 20, 30 years. So there's definitely many more questions that we have for you. We just wanted to preface this because there was a question of, well, what do Haitians have to do with Black History Month, anything like that?
You
And
wanted to add something?
Yeah. Black History Month to me when I was younger was just something that we learned, really. Like I went to private schools too my entire life, and Black History Month was just Rosa Parks Martin Luther King, and Christopher Columbus because he brought us here. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, that was Black History Month for me in school. You know, but I didn't start learning about Black figures until like I was home. You know, like my sister was like, "Yo, you're gonna watch the Malcolm X movie," or like, you know, watching movies to spark my interest about Black history, like Do the Right Thing, or like School Days and stuff. That really was like, oh, you know, why don't you like look up these names that I didn't know about, that I never heard in school, you know. And then you look at some of these people in these Black movies and whatnot. I was like, damn, and you'll never see them in a history book or whatever, you know. But you know, like everybody that was safe, you know, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King. You're really gonna see a Malcolm X in a history book. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna see the Black Panthers in a history book, because they don't want to show people that, you know, or kids that, yo, you gotta stand up. It's right to like fight for your rights. You know what I'm saying? So
and it's very interesting because I was gonna say when we were at Drip BK, once again that's Drip BK, 830 Rogers Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. We gonna plug it all day. We were having a conversation with now a friend, Guyanese man, who was there, and he was speaking, and you could see he had so much reverence about the education that he had, and how growing up in Guyana, they learned about Toussaint, they learned about the revolution, they learned about these powerful Caribbean you know, front holes. And we're looking like, you know, she's from a different culture than me as well, but from New Yorkers, from Queens people, like we didn't learn that. I didn't learn the Haitian Revolution. Just like I'm hearing how you might have not heard the importance of Black History Month. In my household, Black History Month was damn near a month off. Like every day there was a calendar. Every day represented a Black figure, what they did, what they invented, that was my household. I can't say that's all Black people. My mom was on something else. But
so my really question with that, right, is being from a country where you have very positive leaders, where you guys were able to accomplish something, get your independence, right? I also come from a country, I'm from Bangladesh, and when my parents came here, they recently had their liberation, and I know what that creates. So in the Bengali community, because we had to fight for our liberation and got it, we're also very politically active here in New York, because we've had positive role models. Also, me being a Muslim woman, Bangladesh is the only Muslim country that has always had a female leader in power, right? So I recognize what that allows for me in going about my, you know, I see women in power. That's not a, you know, that doesn't happen. I know that it happens, right? And so for many Black people in America, they haven't had those positive role models. Obama only became president in whatever year, I can't even think of right now, but right, like,
it feels like 30 years
ago. But like, so knowing, like, you know, you guys learned about Black History Month, and we're talking about MLK, who happens to be the one person that I guess everyone could agree on. What was your experience with your friends of Black descent, some Southern Black descent, whatever, right? Or even from other Caribbean countries? Do you think that your mind frame was a little bit different? Like your potential, your ability for potential and what you could possibly be? Do you think that was a little bit different?
So I would say only recently as in like the past few years, I'm in my late 20s now. So probably like by my mid 20s that I really start embracing my culture. Prior to that, I didn't really speak on it, just because. I mean, I'm from Flatbush.
That's the new Flatbush sound. That's what they do in Flatbush. That sounds so anti-Brooklyn.
Whatever. We don't have time on this segment.
You got it. I'm from Queens. I don't know nothing.
So I'm from Flatbush, and so I grew up around, you know, Black folks who were of Caribbean descent, mainly first generation like myself, or they were generations deep in Brooklyn. And I think growing up in Flatbush, being around folks like that, it was a lot of, I don't want to say discrimination, but like just hatred or dislike, or just like some type of vibe that's off just because you know my background is Haitian. And I'm talking about, it was like the early 90s, early 2000s. And I think a lot of Haitians or Haitian Americans probably have a similar experience in Brooklyn and in Miami. And I think only recently, I think times have been changing when it came to the narrative, especially when it comes to like what contribution we made to the diaspora. So I think the more I learn about my culture, the more I learn about the history, the more that my mindset is shaped into like service, you know, and love and humanity. Like a lot of people don't know the revolution lasted for 10 years. It was 10 years of fighting. Right. 10 years of fighting to form this republic, which is so unheard of because slavery was still a thing here in the U.S. Right? And Haiti's not that far from the U.S. Right? So I think the more I learn about it, the more proud I am, and so the more proud I am, the more work I want to do. Right? Yeah. Just because I owe it to the generations after me. And so I think when I meet other black folks from different cultures, I think the ones who are educated about their culture and about their history, they have similar mindsets, right? And I think it's because as a people, as black people, we want to do our best work and we want to make sure we're all good, right? That's what I think. That's what I've been experiencing.
So knowledge got you out of.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. It got me out of ignorance. It got me out of embarrassment. It got me out of like hiding. Like no, like knowledge is really power. Like the more I know, the more proud I am, and so the more work I will do. Yeah. Right, and I think that just goes for many people. Yeah. Right.
So do you gentlemen have anything? I mean, you guys are a little bit older.
He's been on that.
I am, but not, I mean, like I had something to add big time. Like, like growing up in Flatbush in the 80s and 90s, you was either Haitian or you was faking it. You dig? So like there was people that was proud to be Haitian, and there was Haitians that was like, oh, I'm Jamaican.
Yes, I remember that too.
You dig?
Yeah.
So yeah, straight up. So it's like I was part of that crew of people that was Haitian. You know what I'm saying? Like I was proud to be Haitian. We stuck together. In my private school, there was a clique of us. We stuck together after school. Like you know, like we lived around each other too. But like that's how it was really. You know what I'm saying? And it was like if you was Haitian, you was sort of as like rough around the edges. Like you're slow. You're broke and whatnot. You know. The term Haitian booty scratcher, straight up, you know what I'm saying? So like yeah, you know, like I grew up with that, you know, and there's like either you know, like I said, I went to private school, so I heard like every joke in the book, you know. I was like the only black kid in there from the first to like the fourth grade, you know. So I heard every joke in the book. So it's like I had to learn to just like fight back verbally, you know what I'm saying? Because like you know, private school is expensive, so I wasn't fighting. Right. And my mom wasn't trying to hear me that, you know, I'm getting sent home for fighting. Right. But, you know, if I verbally attack somebody until they cry, she was cool with that, you know.
Shout out to moms.
But like, yeah, it was a time like a lot of people wasn't proud to be Haitian. And like if you was Haitian and like, you had to like prove yourself, you know, like not prove yourself that you were Haitian, but like prove that I'm Haitian and you know, like don't mess with me. This is what I am, and like leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, on the outside looking in, so you know, I grew up in Jamaica, Queens, and there are a lot of Haitian Americans there, and a lot of Caribbean people, particularly, right? And you would see the difference, like, you know, Jamaicans were the cool thing to be, right? And there was a lot of, like, stereotypes or whatever misjudgments around the Haitian. Like, there was the whole voodoo stuff that now people are really into spirituality, but back then it was like, voodoo, that's crazy.
Voodoo was crazy when I was a kid. I was like, voodoo, what?
So, do you think, right, in respect to the other Caribbean countries that are represented in America, most of them, English is their first language, right? Or some version of it. Because Haitians speak Creole, right? Do you think this is a factor in what sets you guys apart when during the 90s? And I don't know, I'm just really putting this out there. Or like, what are stereotypes from other Caribbean countries that you've had to deal with? People from other Caribbean countries, or in comparison to other Caribbean countries?
I mean, so I would say growing up, like, these little kids were just rude. They were just rude. They were just nasty. They just didn't know better. Like, looking back, like, I got the nickname Haitian Booty Scratcher. And of course, I'm crying. Like, I'm that Booty Scratcher, what? Or Shaka Zulu daughter. And at the time, I didn't really know about Shaka Zulu or that culture. So I'm thinking, oh my God, what does that mean? Like, everything they call me, like, I'm, like, really hurt because I don't understand it, right? And I'm thinking, like, kids see what they see in their environment, what they see at home. So their parents were probably ignorant too. Didn't know no better, was very rude and nasty. So I think stereotypes that I had to deal with was like I don't know about hygiene. My parents came on a banana boat, right? Or they didn't come here the right way, whatever the right way is at that time, right? So growing up, like, I think, even when it comes to the whole language thing, because I think that is real, like yes, other islands, they speak English, their variation of it, right? But there's also other islands that speak Creole, like Haiti is not the only one. And I think that's a big misconception that people who are not familiar with the Caribbean don't realize, right? Like, there's like a few other countries that are part of the French Caribbean, right? But I think they have a better relationship with France that Haiti does not. So their standing is in a better place than we are, right? Which is not really talked about and should be talked about.
That's what happened when you revolt, man.
Yeah. And I think even that, it's really the lack of knowledge. 'Cause if you really knew, you wouldn't say what you're saying, right? So I think some Caribbean nations, or at least people from these nations, don't really know how much work Haiti put in to become what it was at that time, right? And the fact that when it did become independent, like when they declared it, these other nations around didn't recognize it. Right? You don't recognize our independence. We owe money to these folks that we were killing in the first place, right? So now we're in such a position that sets us back, like, for decades to come, for centuries to come. And like, so when I hear ignorant statements from other folks from other Caribbean nations, I'm just like, you really don't know.
No.
Right?
Jude, so you're from Queens. What was the environment like in Queens when you were growing up, right?
I didn't experience that kind of hostility towards me. And we had, like, in Rosedale, we had a pretty big Haitian community in Rosedale. So like, we pretty much stuck together.
Okay.
On a lot of stuff. So there wasn't a lot of the vitriol that, like, y'all got. You know what I'm saying? When I was growing up anyway, and where I was growing up and whatnot. And even amongst, like, just even if we had, like, other, or there was some other Caribbean families. Like I had one of my best friends is Panamanian. You know what I'm saying? Like, his mom treated me like a son. So like, we kind of like stuck together in that whole deal. It was different for me. Like, you know, I mean, we was in the house all the time. You know what I'm saying? So like, I was able to ride my bike up and down the block, playing with other kids and whatnot. Whenever we had like school projects, you know, it was other Caribbean folks. You know, so like, if we went to their house, it was like even though even if like, someone was Panamanian, someone was Trinidadian, like the respect and stuff was still kind of the same. They didn't really look at me as like
different.
Nah, not really. Like, I didn't really get that.
I think that's definitely great, and that's why we had, you know, this different variation in generations, because what you're talking about reminds me of what Nussie has talked about with Bengali people who have come over, you know, when they first came over.
Yeah, so my family, Bangladesh got its independence in 1971. And my uncle, who was the first one to come here, he came in 1973. And they got their independence, Bangladesh got their independence from Pakistan, right? And coming to America, I remember when I was here, you could probably count the Bengalis that were here in America, right? So all the Bengalis knew each other, and there was a different level of camaraderie, even with Pakistanis and Indians that were in the country. Because even though there was all this war stuff happening back there, In America, though, we look so alike. It's like, well, we gotta kind of stick together here because this is as close as we're gonna get. Fast forward now, 30 plus years later, there's an exponential growth of all these populations, and you don't see the same level of camaraderie that you used to back then, because now they found their own communities, and so it's not as much as like, oh, we gotta stick together because, you know, we're the only ones. So right, so that's what I think.
That's very interesting to see.
But I will say though, there was a lot of stigma around, like, because at that time there was a lot of misinformation going on too. Like when I was younger, like they were associating us with AIDS.
Yeah.
For whatever weird reason, like it was just like any Haitian you see, for whatever reason, it was like, oh, they got AIDS. And it was like, where'd you get that from? I'm like,
I
what?
heard about that.
Yeah,
Like, that
where's
was the
the?
80s when it first came out, right? It was labeled epidemic, and I think there were stories about people who came to Haiti came back with AIDS. I think that was the story, and so it's like, oh no, watch out for the Haitians, right? And I think, at that time, because it was such a stigma, Haitians really stuck together, right? And they crossed that Brooklyn Bridge, like in massive amounts of people, like crossing the bridge protesting, telling the CDC to retract that statement.
Yeah.
Right? So it's actually the government that said it. Like,
they were going to walk down on Wall Street and shut down Wall Street.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
So
in that march.
I think when it comes to the stigma, or at least the levels of stigma, I feel like it may vary like generation wise. Right, like how it was in the 70s may be different in the 80s than the 90s, right? And I think it depends on like what's the political climate at that time, right? So I think the 80s for sure, like, was pretty brutal.
So what's the political climate like now? What is the experience for Haitian Americans in this day and age? What does that look like?
I don't think it's that good. You got Haitians in certain office, but like, you know.
Office here? Or
Yeah, like
back there?
like councilmen. You talking about out there or here?
Here in America.
Yeah, like you got certain Haitians out like council members and whatnot, but are they really doing anything? I don't think so. Sorry to say it. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of positions that a lot of Haitians hold in councils are just like, you know, be happy, you know what I'm saying? Just they hold that and like just be quiet and whatever, you know, like even in the police force, it's like there's not too many Haitians like in high rank, you know what I'm saying? Like you always see Haitians like in auxiliary or some shit. You know what I'm saying? I see them in like heavy auxiliary, but nowhere else, you know. So
that's a conversation in itself about New York auxiliary police and how they delegated to specific.
Yeah, it's crazy. If you really look at it, it's crazy. Like the traffic, auxiliary and everything. But like there's new generations of Haitians that are coming up. Like I feel really good about them. Like they're different, you know. Like having a cafe and everything. A lot of people come in. A lot of people talk. A lot of people talk to me and whatnot. And it's good to see how like younger Haitians really have like a lot of drive. That when I was their age and whatnot, there wasn't a lot of Haitians trying to do what they're trying to do, you know.
Yeah.
And like, I think going forward, more Haitians are gonna try to like hold like higher positions in every field.
Own
you know?
businesses,
and everything. And I think that's the way it should go. Because it's like at the end of the day, you know, I'm a real firm believer. Like if you're gonna make things change, you gotta do it yourself. You know, so you know, like you protest all you want and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, if you know, you gotta get Haitians in there and to want to get up to a high position for them to change, to actually do it. You know, like protesting is great. You know, all the other stuff. You know, I've seen a whole bunch of stuff, but a lot of that stuff.
What do you think is the responsibility of Haitians uniting with other groups? Like, do you think this is a Haitian specific fight for, you know, that you had to do, or is this a fight in conjunction with other groups as well?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I feel like sometimes Haitians do have to fight for their own, you know, their own thing. You know, they should. And then on the same token, like we shouldn't be afraid to do stuff with other nationalities to get a bigger picture. You know, and it's more of us than them. You know what I'm saying? You got a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
If which also is a big community of black people who own property in Flatbush also.
Yeah.
So like understand like they have the ability to change things,
Neighborhoods.
you know, like change neighborhoods and blah blah blah. And that's something that everybody could do as a community. And it's changing, you know, instead of the area getting bids and like dropping like a big Walgreens or Target over there, like these property owners could come together and like, all right, we're gonna revamp our supermarkets, we're gonna revamp our medical centers to compete with what's coming into our neighborhoods, so that people don't feel like the neighborhood's dying, you know, right? You know, and like have more businesses that people want to stay in the area instead of like going to Bushwick or going to Williamsburg to hang out. Everybody like wants to stay.
Right.
So
that's definitely what appealed to us with what you're doing and your business in Flatbush, because we believe like everyone has to do their part, right? A lot of people ask us like, what the hell is conversation going to do? What do you do after the talking and all that? And we know a different understanding of what the point is, right? We have people already doing the work. So when we come to Flatbush, it's like, all right, now we have leaders who are already business owners, but now how do we get the neighborhood to come together? To hypothetically do what you were just saying. We know that there's a missing part of this conversation.
With that being said, this Thursday at Trip DK, we will be continuing this conversation with the Haitian perspective. There's going to be home cooked food there, and it's really an opportunity. It doesn't matter if you are Haitian, if you are not Haitian, if you're Caribbean, not Caribbean, it does not matter. Everyone has a perspective to share, and it's an opportunity to learn some more.
And this is what it looks like. It's not just history. It's not us just talking about the revolution and things like that, but it's us breaking barriers and seeing that we're all really one. Yeah. We really are. And now, once we climb over that barrier, now let's talk about business. Let's talk about change. Let's talk about voting and all this other stuff.
Yeah. So, Jude, you've been in business for a while. The question I'm going to ask you... A while?
Which business are we talking about?
That just makes you sound successful. That's all.
I've been patient all my life.
So something that, for me, I remember, like, I love my Bengali food, right? And I remember in college, like, when I was away in school, having to come home and, like, my mom would cook a lot of food for me and I would bring it back to school. And then there would always be that, like, fuck, when am I going to heat this up so people don't, like, go on about the whole curry smell. Right? And so, which now, fast forward, now everybody loves Indian food. Yeah. I was like, oh, right?
Yeah.
So, is there a similar experience of, so who's coming and visiting your restaurant? Is it Haitians? Is it other Caribbeans? Has it changed over the years?
The Grand Champs?
Yeah.
No, we get a variety of people coming in at Grand Champs. But one of the things is, like you pointed out, is like the reason why Grand Champs is in Brooklyn is because of that, right? Because of all of the like gentrification and stuff that's going on. It was just like, we wanted to keep that culture in there and wanted to keep it like, yo, this is still home for us. You follow what I'm saying? And so like, here's the space where, you can come in and because collaboration happens over breaking bread. You follow what I'm saying? And so like at Grand Champs, we really promote like having people come together, to break bread and to discuss or to talk about stuff, whether it's business or collaborating, right? Or just to kind of break bread and just be community, right? And some fellowship or what have you. So we get a diverse we create a space where it's just welcoming to everybody, right? It's like home when you come in. So we get a wide range of folks coming in.
And so if we were to come in, what should we order if we were to come in?
I mean, you're gonna get the guido. Who's not gonna get? I mean, that's the staple of the offense. I mean, for those of you who don't, then you could just have the legume. You could always talk to that one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. So Jael, you are the creator of Thriving Hispaniola. Can you tell us a little bit about that and why you decided to start that, specifically what those conversations are about?
So I actually changed the name because, again, I was researching and I didn't realize Hispaniola was like like a whitewash kind of term for the island, right? The original name of the island is Haiti, right? So I changed the name to Assam, which is Creole for together. And so the purpose of the project was to connect the diaspora to the people back home.
For those of you that don't know, Haiti is part of an island with the Dominican Republic.
Yes, they share.
If you don't know that, shame on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's
Nah, we don't
people
give
who
shames.
had no idea,
Yeah.
and I don't want to say I don't blame them, but I can understand how they don't know that, because like if you look at the media, you would think you see it's two different countries, but you wouldn't think they're on the same land, right? But yeah, I started the project because one, for personal reasons, like one, I haven't been back to the island or to Haiti in like 10 years or so, at least, right? And I think every time when I express the want to go, my family just freak out. No, it's not safe. Blah, 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 blah. And there's people who have no connections to the island. They go and they come back just fine, right? So I think one, there's a lot of like information that's being put out there with the purpose for people to not connect with their heritage.
And that's
with their
within
culture,
the
right?
Haitian family culture that you're experiencing.
Yeah, like, and I get it. My parents are older generation, and I feel like the way Haitians share information with each other, like sometimes a little exaggerated, right? Sometimes a little dramatic. Some of it is valid, but knowing my family and the people they associate themselves with, I'm like, okay, you're exaggerating. It wasn't that serious. Like, no, it's not that late.
That's how
It's
people
only
talk
6
about
p.m.
New York.
Like
you
things
know?
like
They're
that.
like, how do you live in Brooklyn? Oh my God.
Right, Brooklyn is so exaggerated.
Well, now it is.
Now it is. We were just talking about Bushwick
that's true.
earlier.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
real Brooklyn.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah,
Certain
right.
parts, certain parts. But Florida was okay.
Straight up.
So for personal reasons, because I realized that, my parents are getting older, and they're like my only connection to Haiti, right? So God forbid they're gone sooner than later. I wouldn't know what to do, how to connect with family, who to connect with, how do I send my doom, things like that, like my barrel of goodies. Like, I wouldn't know anything. And I think that I was meeting a lot of young folks like me, Haitian Americans, who had similar scenarios. So that was one. And then two, really figuring out how do we get along with Dominicans, right? There has been a lot of tension, like, I would say since the beginning of time, really.
Right.
There's always been tension. But I feel like through personal reflections, I didn't want the conversations we're having today to still be the conversations we're having decades from now, right? Like I would want, like, the generations after me who are here in the U.S. feel comfortable enough to go to both parts of the country and not feel like they had to pick, or not feel like they have to be on edge, like, oh my goodness, someone's gonna do whatever because they found out I'm from this side or that side. So the project is really getting Haitian Americans, Dominican Americans, those who are from the island, together. Let's talk about the divide. Let's talk about what can we do as part of the diaspora in relations to the island.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
We have
Yeah.
an applaud machine.
do
It's
you?
just not up yet, so take these.
I'll take the real one.
No, that's
Yeah.
wonderful, man. That's wonderful.
It's nerve-wracking. It's hard. I'm realizing how big the vision is and how scary the vision is. Because there's a lot of people who don't disagree with me, who don't agree with me, Haitians in particular. Like, I had a few folks that were on board in the beginning. They're no longer on board because I was like, nah, I don't want to communicate with these
trust
people.
and
Like,
believe. I
it's
understand.
really real. And I'm like, even more of a reason why we need to figure this out. I don't want my kids' and your kids' to not.
And these
Like-
kind of conversations are, obviously very important all around. Even with perspective, we're talking about the Haitian American perspective, and there's so many layers to that, right? Like, whenever we start any conversation, this one topic could go into so many different areas. With time, no, you have a question?
No, I just wanted to say
Yeah.
on that, especially for the work that you're doing, and anybody else who might be listening and hearing, there's people who question us all the time, like, why are you doing this? Me as a black person, I have conversations with a lot of, not want to say a lot, but with black people who are like, why do you care? Nobody cares about us. Why are you doing a Dominican person? Why are you doing that? They don't care. And those are real, like, I have to take that in consideration. Like, that's a truth. There's a truth behind that. But there are people who care, and you know us, but, like, that's a genuine thing that we've understood, is that we're doing this because people do want to talk. There are Dominicans and Haitians that want to talk with each other. We really want to go. We want to get Jews and Muslims in a room. We want to be in Jerusalem getting people to talk. We see this around the world, so we understand that there are a lot of people who are gonna be like, nah, don't do that. Nah, I ain't with it. But if it's in your heart, like, go for it.
Yeah, I think another point, another reason why it just came up, because the situation is not unique to Haiti itself, right? Like, I think when I think of the U.S., there's people who came here from all different types of countries and cultures, right? And especially as a first gen, like, my household was not American, right? It's that country that my parents are from, right? And so it's just that feeling of wanting to know about home, right? Like, last year was the year of return. Like, Ghana welcomed, like, almost 1 million African American visitors on their shores who wanted to know about Ghana and the people who were here before they were taken away. So it's pretty much similar sentiments. Like,
it's happening.
I'm not there, but I want to know about there. And there's other people like me who want to know about there. So that could be unique. That could pertain to many other countries.
Yeah, and so, I mean, you know, our slogan is gaining perspective one conversation at a time, right? Because we realize with all these events, all these conversations we're having, we're not going to be able to impact everybody and change everyone's mind. But even if you are changing one person's mind, now that person's going into the world and reacting differently and acting differently. Earlier today, actually, we were just in the public school system, and we were with high school students, and we had the opportunity to talk to them about stereotypes that they faced, but also the unconscious bias that they had towards other people as well, including students that were in the room with themselves, and like how that conversation can look differently, right? And so these students want us back. Like, there was pizza in the room, there was boxes of pizza, and they didn't want to go on their lunch break. They didn't want their pizza. They just wanted to talk.
What kid doesn't want pizza?
Right? And so, like, yeah, you can only really affect the people that you're affecting. So great work that you guys are doing. We are getting close to time, and so I do want to bring up our event on Thursday again. We're going to be at Drip BK, 830 Rogers Avenue. It will be starting approximately 7 p.m. And there will be food and everything like that as well there. So
there's gonna be food. There's gonna be great vibes.
Right.
There's gonna be color. There's gonna be culture.
It's gonna be a fun
music.
night. Yes.
Every time we step in the Drip BK, it's a great time. So
Yeah. So the last question: if there was one thing that you wanted us to know about Haitians, Haitian Americans, what would that be?
that sounded like
That's
a
it?
part two.
I was just like, what's like that?
And that's it.
That's it. 'Cause of time.
I don't know. The word that first pops up into my mind, especially through everything I've been through, is durable. We tested the test of time. You know, truthfully, we've been through a lot, and I think like Haitians have a work ethic. There's certain things that we have to get over and whatnot, like so we can become greater as a people. But I think in a whole that, you know, like we're not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Truthfully, we're just gonna try to get better. And yeah, you know, and definitely go check out Haiti. It's mad lit over
Yeah.
there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know Port-au-Prince is going through his thing over there, definitely. But you know, if you go on that airplane, anytime going to Haiti, there's everything but Haitians going to Haiti. I can tell you right now, Haiti is mad lit. You can have a good time over there. There's good food. There's white sands. There's vacation areas. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid of Haiti. If other people aren't, you as a Haitian shouldn't be afraid of Haiti.
All right. Those are great words. Excellent.
Jude?
Resilience. We're a resilient people. Like anytime stuff comes our way, we'll figure a way to get past it. If we got to lean on each other, we'll figure it out somehow. We get a little passionate and get loud. Sometimes it doesn't seem like we're working together and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we're resilient to try to figure it out and whatnot. And we'll keep fighting.
Great.
Yes.
Jaya?
We are, I guess I can speak for my generation, the one that's coming after me, that we are committed to changing the narrative, right? Like the new narrative is that, yes, you can come to Haiti and vacation there and and learn about history just like you do in African countries. Yes, you can come to our restaurants and enjoy the food. It will take you back to the beginning of time. Yes, our women are beautiful too, and our men are very handsome. Like, we are
Haitian
really
women are
changing.
so beautiful. I can say that at the end as we closing. Oh man, you see.
Yeah, like we're actually changing the narrative because we see it for ourselves. Like it means a lot to do it. Like we have to, right? And so we don't mind doing it. Yeah.
Excellent,
Awesome.
excellent. So thank you so much. Thank y'all for being here. Can you just one more time run down where because I want people to hear where your spot is at, the two locations, and definitely let them know.
Grand Champs Restaurant. Yeah, we're on the corner of Halsey and Patchen, and then we have another location at the Brooklyn Navy Yard.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, definitely go check them out. The grill is
Thank
popping.
you.
Drip Beverage Lounge on IG with Drip BK, 830 Rogers Avenue between Church and Erasmus. We get coffees from everywhere: Haiti, Colombia, Cuba, Australia. We have great cookies, great baked goods, fresh juices, and we make a great in-house pizza.
Yes.
Fire with fire homemade honey
We can
sauce.
second that. And Giles, do you have any events coming up that?
Yes, but they're not finalized yet. So like for anyone who's listening who wants to follow me on social media, you can find me on Instagram, LOVE_JAYEL, and I usually post my events on there. So
Great. So
Great.
looking forward to that next one.
Joe, thanks for that.
Yes.
Because my sister is around your age, and she's the one who really opened up the restaurant to change the narrative around how people look at Haitians and stuff like that. So
thank you for Kaju
So
opened up his restaurant for my first event, so that was a great support system.
Yes. So thank you guys again for joining us today. Next we have Speak Into Existence with May I Speak.
You can catch us here every Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. WEMSradio.com, IronPerspective.com. We are out there.
thank you.